Hi again, Devin here, creator of the Naval Battles customizable card game. Welcome to part 2 of my video tutorial series on playing the game. This part is about the cards. We'll get into talking about everything you need to know about the cards. So, first, the game consists of 6 main card types. There are ship cards, there are aircraft cards, there are defense cards, there are weapons cards, instant cards, and finally resource cards. And now there are subtypes of each card that are unique amongst other cards in the game. So we'll talk about parts of the card. So on each card there are multiple different icons. So for example, on a ship card, the USS Enterprise has several different icons and several parts of importance. So up here is the type icon. Now all cards will have a type icon in the top left corner. Below that is the requisition cost. Down here on the central border, this first number in this icon denotes its hit points. The second number in this icon represents the number of weapons pylons that this ship has. The next icon represents aircraft, how many open aircraft slots this ship has you can equip aircraft cards to. And then finally the last two icons are also aircraft, but that shows that this ship is pre-equipped with these aircraft as well. And in the bottom text you can see that it gives the stats of those aircraft. The second card type is aircraft, and again, the top left corner has the type icon, and each type of aircraft will have a different icon, and the requisition cost just below that. Aircraft also have hit points, and then at the bottom is the aircraft's attack and defense numbers, and the attack is with the bullet and the defense is with the shield. And ships also have those same stats at the bottom. You'll also notice in the bottom left corner there is a big gold C. That's the set symbol and denotes the rarity. So we'll get more into that in part 6 when we talk about setting up the cube for rarity. Third card type is defense cards. And defense cards can only be equipped to your flagship, and you can only have one defense card of each type that's available. We'll get more into that in a bit. And again, type, cost, hit points, and this tells you what it does, what buff it gives. Weapons cards get equipped to weapons pylons either on your flagship or your fleet ships, and they too have the icon, type icon, requisition cost, hit points, and then this one has a tap ability. Instant cards. These are quick play cards that players could play at any time, that they can pay the requisition cost and satisfy any prerequisites. Like in this case, world government requires a player must control a capital legendary resource card. So, and then finally we have resource cards. And the Pentagon is a legendary resource. All resource cards have the requisition icon, which is right here, and also have hit points. But they don't have a requisition cost, so they just get played once per turn, and we'll describe in part 3 how you obtain resources. So now we'll get into the icons that will be used in the game. Now, As you see here, there are a number of different icons that are used throughout the game. Card type icons, different ability icons, and just other icons that have specific meanings. Now this page here is taken out of the Naval Battles Customizable Card Game Admiral's Handbook. It's Appendix C, Key of Icons. There are over 50 different icons. Now for constructed, players aren't going to be expected to memorize all the icons. You'll just recognize certain ones in your deck that you used from certain types of cards. So we'll get into it now. First I'm going to discuss the common icons, and these are used pretty well throughout the game on many different cards. The requisition icon you've seen earlier. Resources with the requisition icon produce requisition, and anything else that has the requisition icon on it in the card text, it's either a cost or an output, and it'll show you a number of requisition icons equal to the amount of requisition required for those fast effects costs. Next to it is the tap icon, and that'll be seen on many cards that tap to have some sort of effect. The next icon over is the instant card icon. That is the card type icon you'll see on all instant cards. We'll go down here. The next row is the attack icon and the defense icon, which you've seen earlier on ships and aircraft. Hit points, again you've seen these on permanent cards. And then this is the weapons pylon icon, and the number in there will tell you how many weapons pylons that ship has. The next icon is the blue missile icon. There is for ballistic missile vertical launch platforms, and you'll see those on ballistic missile subs. Below those icons, on the left you see the carrier hangar icon. This one's for regular aircraft carriers that'll carry fixed-wing aircraft and helicopters. And on the right is the helicopter hangar. You'll see these on other surface combatants, and those will only be able to equip helicopters. So next we'll get into ship cards. And now there are several different ship types in the game, and with exception of the destroyer icon, all the ships will use these gray and gold icons. So first we have aircraft carriers. Now aircraft carriers obviously carry aircraft and can only have defensive weapons. And I'll get into that when I get into weapons cards. Battleships can carry any type of weapon except for anti-sub weapons. Cruisers can carry any type of weapon at all. Frigates are generally single-rolled ships, but they can also be set up for multi-roll and can carry pretty well any weapon in the game. And destroyers as well are typically multi-roll vessels, and they can carry any weapon in the game. And then we have attack subs and ballistic missile subs. And now you notice the difference between the icons on these two, where the ballistic missile sub will have a little missile coming up the top of the sub, where the attack sub icon doesn't. So that's ships. Now on to weapons. In the Naval Battles customizable card game, there are 13 different weapons types, and they all have their own different unique characteristics. So the first ones I'll talk about are defensive weapons. AA guns is a defensive weapon. It can be used to defend against aircraft. Countermeasures are like chaff and flares, and they'll be used to defend yourself against guided missile attack. Surface-to-air missiles, or just SAMs, will defend you against attacking aircraft. And then close-in weapon systems, or CWIS, and this is like your phalanx. This will defend you against aircraft and guided missiles. And then we'll go down here with the guns icon, and then main guns. So guns can be equipped to pretty well any surface ship with restriction. Main guns can be only equipped to your flagship, and out of your 8 weapons pylons, you can only equip a maximum of 4 main guns. Next to that is the anti-ship missile. That's like the harpoon. Next to that is the cruise missile icon, and that would be your tomahawk. And then Anti-sub weapons, we have the anti-submarine rocket, or ASROC. We have torpedoes, and then we have depth charges. Torpedoes can be used on surface ships to help to intercept subs. Otherwise, surface ships can't intercept subs. And depth charges, directed attack weapon that can only be fired against attacking subs. And then the last two icons we have is the sub-launch ballistic missile icon. These are like tridents and can only be equipped to ballistic missile subs. And then lastly is a mine, the mine icon. And what these are is these are activated weapons that produce mine tokens you put in the battlefield. And you would sacrifice these mine tokens in an attempt to deal damage to attacking ships. Next we have aircraft cards. We only have 7 different aircraft types in the game. We have helicopters, we have cargo aircraft, we have reconnaissance, and then we have 4 different types of fighter aircraft. We have straight fighters, and those are interceptors. Attackers will only be able to go on attack. Multi-role can attack or intercept. And then Vistal. Vistal fighters are also multi-role. And those are vertical short takeoff and landing aircraft, and can be equipped to any aircraft carrier as well. Next we'll get into resource cards. Now there's 4 different types of resource cards. There's basic resources, which are denoted by the brown factory icon. Next ones are legendary resources, denoted by the gold icon with the columns. Specialty resources, the white icon with the, it looks like a government building. And then worldly resources are the blue globe icon. Legendary resources and worldly resources must be unique. Legendary resources have to be unique on your side of the battlefield, and then worldly resources have to be globally unique amongst all players. And then finally we get into defense cards. Now there is one icon missing from this list, but it is also an ability icon, and I'll get into that. That's denoted as stealth. But you'll notice that there are a couple of subtypes here. There's a radar, an advanced radar, and then sonar and advanced sonar. And then we have armor upgrades, and then we have combat system. Now remember, defense cards can only be equipped to your flagship, but they generally have buffs to the rest of your fleet. And you can only control one type of each type of defense card at a time. So you can only control one radar, one sonar, one armor card, and a stealth field generator if you like. The combat system cards are a bundle of radar and sonar, as denoted in the icons. Got both advanced radar and advanced sonar icons there. Alright, so lastly we'll get into the ability icons. Now there's only 5 icon abilities. The top ability is the stealth icon, and this icon also appears under the card type on the stealth field generator. Stealth basically means that the unit can't be intercepted or targeted by weapons effects unless the player controls an advanced radar. And there are advanced radars on several resource cards and ships and several defense cards that contain advanced radar as well. Secondly, this icon is similar to First Strike in other popular games. Basically it means that during combat this ship fires first, and if the attack is successful it deals damage to the targeted ship before that ship gets to fire its weapons. And then if that means if there's enough damage to sink the ship, that ship is destroyed before it can fire. The next icon is similar to Vigilance in other popular games, where basically in naval battles, ships that do combat have to be tapped. Well, this icon means that those ships don't tap when they attack or intercept. The next icon is akin to banding in other popular games, and this one basically allows players to band one ship with this icon, and one ship without this icon and have them attack or defend as like a small fleet. And that basically increases their attack or defense modifiers for your rolls. You can also band readied ship with banding with any other ship being targeted by directed fire, and that will increase the defense buff of that ship as well. And lastly, if this will focus, lastly is this icon with the 2 red arrows in it. And this basically means the same as like haste or swiftness in other popular games, where ships when they enter the battlefield have shakedown time. That means that they can't attack, launch aircraft, or fire guided missiles. This icon lets players do that on the first turn. So that concludes part 2 of my video tutorial series on the cards. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for part 3 when I go into the main mechanics of the game and turn phases and playing cards.